everyone, Dr. Kristen here with another Abbey Research Reads. This time I'm coming to you with the 2012 book, James Fergusson's The World's Most Dangerous Place. It looks, it's an ex-library copy that I snagged from from Thrift Books. This was from Lancashire County in the UK. 2013, excuse me, a 2013 edition. So this is about the outlaw state of Somalia. And this whole past week on the sister channel, on the main channel, we've been talking about Somalia. So I wanted to grab a book that kind of maybe helped me understand a little bit of why. Books are really good time capsules in a certain way, because this was written right as we thought Al-Shabaab was gone. And we thought that the new transitional state would really kind of go. Spoiler alert, I'm sitting here in 2020. Al-Shabaab is more powerful than ever. They may not have taken Mogadishu. They may have given up Mogadishu. But their version of Islam is intense and has affected a lot of Somalia. I mean, they're spilling over into Kenya and into Ethiopia and up to Eritrea. So what was fascinating, though, is that there's a point that Fergusson makes in this book that there is no real government to hold Somalia together. So instead, it's Islam that holds Somalia together. Most folks are Sunnis, but then you have the Al-Shabaabs that are kind of distorting what Sunni Islam really looks like and can function as and can kind of go. So it really builds up. This was a really military book. There was a lot about military stuff, and I don't care. And militaries always come with so many acronyms that I lose track of. What I was hoping to get from this book, I got in fleeting bits, which was like exactly how did Somalia get here? So we're sitting in 2013 and he writes things like Al-Shabaab explicitly modeled themselves on the Taliban. There has famously never been a properly functioning central government in Mogadishu. Cool. This is the one that kind of got me the most. However, often the four horsemen of the apocalypse rode out into the world. Somalia was where they always came back to, because this was where they were stabled. This was their home. War, famine, pestilence, and death were indeed constants in this country. Let's sit with that for a minute. However often the four horsemen of the apocalypse went to the rest of the world, they always come back to Somalia. Okay, that's exciting. In 2012, 2013, there was cause for cautious optimism. There was a transitional government. Somebody had actually been elected. But then I watched a video recently that said that really it's so clan-centric that the only people that can vote are head clan leaders. So I would have downgraded cautious optimism to, oh, this is just another chapter in the cycle of here we go again. And the final thing that I'll say is that the other piece that I did appreciate from this book, and that you have to talk about when you're talking about Somalia in the same way that we all need to talk about Bruno, is that you have to talk about the Somali Diaspora. Nearly 2 million people left Somalia. And that's massive. That is a massive diaspora. And most of them ended up in the biggest concentration, I'd say, in the United States ended up in Minneapolis. So we talked about Minneapolis a little bit this week. We had a conversation about migration and what it looks like. The last thing that I'll leave you with, the thing that blew my mind the most, is that truly there was never a Somalia. It isn't like there was a Somalia and it completely failed. It isn't like the settlers even created a thing. There was Italian Somaliland, there was British Somaliland, there was something else. And in the 1950s, a bunch of nationalists kind of came along and said, let's take all of these and smush them together. But no one actually asked the clans or the people that they were going to start calling Somalis or anything else. So we have, like, in the 1970s, this dream of pan-Somali nationalism just completely died. And we start getting breakoffs like the independent state of Somaliland that is not recognized by the UN, but it sounds like it really should be, but is recognized by the nation of Somalia. I remind you again, the four horsemen of the apocalypse are stabled in Somalia. It's really easy when we talk about countries like Somalia, to get caught up in the war, get caught up in images like this one of tiny children on top of tanks with giant guns. It's really easy to dehumanize everybody there. This book is not the best because it's written by a white British guy, but he tries. I can see him trying to talk about everyday average Somali folks and what it is like to exist in a country that stables the four horsemen of the apocalypse. It's not my favorite read. I'm not going to recommend it to everybody. If you're a military nut or you really love the idea of figuring out like trans-African military alliances, oh my God, James Ferguson's your guy. That's not what I was going in for, so it wasn't my absolute favorite. Really well written. He writes, I believe, for The Telegraph. Like, he's a good writer. He just focused on things I didn't necessarily care about. You could argue back with me that it's things I need to know to understand Somalia, but I feel very confident that I can just say there's a lot of military and, like, extrapolate from there. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to head back to the main channel and watch the rest of our Somalia coverage. We're heading into another week here, and we're going to be talking about, I believe, Ethiopia. Yeah, Ethiopia. Because we're in the month of Colonizers World Tour where we're talking about all of the Italian colonies. And there's only a couple, but man, did they screw them up something really, really fierce. Or maybe we're talking about Libya. We're either talking about Libya or Ethiopia, and I would love to have you join me over there on the channel. For anyone for whom this is your first time encountering us, my name is Dr. Kristen Donnelly. I'm one of the good doctors of Abbey Research, and we're empathy educators who spend our time helping people understand themselves and others so that we can all have richer human experiences. And one of the ways that we do that is with a YouTube series we call Colonizers World Tour. It's an opportunity to spend intentional time with, we're hoping at some point, every country on the planet, exploring what the legacy of colonization is in that place and how we should be aware of it. It's been a really fun project so far. We're in our second year, and we can't wait to keep learning about everything together. We'd love to have you join us over there. If this is it for us, we'd also love for you to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It really does help. In the meantime, my hope for you is that you are somewhere that you know safety, that you are seen and you are loved and you are held. And I'll see you next time. Bye.